This is the Book Deal Podcast, a podcast all about inspiring and motivating writers.
Where we interview seasoned and debut authors about their own writing, from the blank page to the book deal and beyond.
We hope these stories will help you to stay positive, focused, and carve your own path forward.
I'm Madeleine Cleary.
And I'm Tina Strong.
And this is the Book Deal Podcast. The Book Deal Podcast acknowledges the traditional owners of the land and waters which it's recorded on and pays respect to their elders past, present, and emerging.
Hi, Madeleine.
Hey, Tina. How have you been?
I've been really good and really busy, as usual. How about you? You've been really busy too.
Oh, I know you're busy because I'm getting well used to now waking up every morning to a stream of your messages starting from about 5 a.m.
Yeah, you're lucky I leave it that long because I get up at 4:30, so that's, I think I'll give her half an hour.
There's a difference between living in Queensland in winter and living in Melbourne in winter.
Yeah, indeed. And also having kids, I've got to get it done before they get up.
Of course. I think it's amazing that you can find a cafe that's open at 5 a.m. to go and do your, but very, very impressed.
That definitely is a Queensland thing, yes.
So tell me, I'm so excited to hear about your retreat in Byron Bay, which just sounds amazing. And I saw you were in t-shirts and I was so incredibly jealous. Tell us all about it.
Yes, I just last weekend went on a writer's retreat in Byron Bay. It was hosted by Kate Foster and Sarah Bragg, who are both amazing authors, and they really just wanted to organise a retreat that people could go to get their writing done in whatever way, shape, or form that is. So for some people it's researching, and for some people it's reading, and some people it's edits, or just, coming up with an idea. But that didn't have a whole heap of workshops and stuff. Like, how some retreats are booked out with workshops and different things that you can do in a day.
I've never done a retreat actually.
Great.
I have no idea.
It was also my first one. So, but I had seen other ones. And they're great too for lots of different reasons. But this one was specifically like, just come along, relax, write. And it was amazing. There were 16 of us, and I got a lot done. And Byron is a good writing space for me, so I was very happy about that. So I've already put my name down for next year, and hopefully they do it again. But yeah, it was awesome. So, but you haven't done one, you said, Madeleine?
No. I think it sounds amazing. I would love to. And I guess we should tell our listeners too, last weekend we were going to record this chat, but we had a bit of a technical glitch where Tina was recording the episode in her car on her phone, and I was recording the Zoom, and I hadn't even hit record, and then Tina's phone halfway through the chat turned off because it was too hot.
Too hot.
Not a good day.
It was just, look, rookie errors, I think, but we're getting there.
We're getting there. We're pros. No, I would love to go on a retreat. That sounds wonderful. It just sounds, there's something magical about the idea of going away with other writers. And I'm sure having a few wines after the hard days of work that you put in as well is a nice reward.
Yes, I definitely had my eye on the clock for when wine time started, but that was nice. But also, we were going to put up our first episode last week, weren't we, Madeleine? But for a few things, and one thing, because as we've said before, we both have our debut books coming out next year, and so that's priority, right? That's super important, and we've both kind of just made the deal that writing comes first. Anything that if we need something done and we've got a deadline, we have to focus on that. So that was one of the reasons why we are about to release this a little bit later, but
he was being very nice here. It was completely my bad.
No, it wasn't. But you were very busy last week finishing your edits, your third round edits now.
Yes, so I think I might have mentioned in our initial chat that I'm on to my third round of structural edits, and my publisher, I couldn't remember the deadline for these edits because we talked about it. And I'd written it in my laptop when we were chatting on Zoom, and I had not saved those notes, and then my computer died. And so then I lost all the notes that I took during that 1 hour Zoom session with my editor. So I emailed her and I was like, I'm just confirming it's end of August, right? She's like, no, it's mid-August. And so I was like, oh, I need to work a bit harder, I think, and try and get this. So anyway, last week I was sent a message to our lovely debut crew WhatsApp because Friday, 5 p.m. yesterday, I wrote the last word of my manuscripts, the new third round of structural edits of my new epilogue. And as soon as I wrote it, I just burst into tears because
How come? What was that? Do you think was it happiness or
I don't
sadness or excitement or just adrenaline or?
know. I think I was so overwhelmed because I think it finally felt right at the end, and been I'd been talking about how to end it for a while and doing it in a really appropriate way, and I'll explain more when you read it why that was important. But yeah, when I wrote that last sentence, I think I've been editing this for the last year, and it just felt like this was the book that it was meant to be now. And I
Oh.
didn't feel that in the last two rounds.
Mm.
But when I finished this, I was like, no, this is the right book. This is the story I want to tell.
And it had to go through those two edits, just had to do it as a matter of process to get to that third one that just seemed to work.
That's
Yeah.
right, exactly. And so I still have to go back. I'm actually going to, I've just purchased a subscription to a thing called Natural AI Readers, where an AI reads in a natural Australian voice your book back to you. So that's a tip for everyone. I
Yeah.
find it really helpful to listen, and that helps me with the tone. So I'm doing that. I'm going to listen to that this weekend and then next weekend, and then it should be ready to go by mid-August.
Oh, I'm really keen to find out what you think of the AI reader. I know
I love
people who
it.
have done it just get Word to read it back to them, but that's a bit kind of,
Funky.
yeah,
You don't get the
clunky,
intonation.
robotic.
Yeah, Natural
Oh,
AI Reader. It's on.
okay.
It's about $25 a month or something, I think.
Oh, that's all right.
And I just subscribe for the month, and it's yeah, really. And having a proper Australian voices. If you're my book's set in Australia, so I think that helps. So.
Okay, that's good. That is a really good tip. Was that your tip of the day? Or your tip of the
Oh,
app?
I have
Because
one
we
more.
we had planned on doing a tip for each
Oh,
episode.
no, I do
That
have
was a
one
good
more.
one.
But
Okay.
how about you? How's your what's your writing update, Tina?
Okay, so since we recorded last, I've been having a little bit of back and forth with my publishers at HarperCollins about the cover for book two, because
Exciting.
there's three books in the series, and I believe they want the cover of book two in the back of book one. So we're
Mm.
trying to get that done, and it's looking amazing. Yeah, there's so much that goes into book covers, isn't it? It's like a science, I think. It's, when you hear all the considerations that they put into it, colors, font, everything, there's an actual science behind the feel that they want. There's a lot that they're trying to get into this one little page. Um, yeah, it's really quite exciting. So it's looking beautiful.
Science and art, isn't it?
It
The
is. It starts out, that's right. Yeah, as is writing sometimes. But have you seen do you know anything about your cover? Has there been chat about it?
I was actually talking with my family last night about it because I'm just not a creative person when it comes to visual things. I can
Yeah,
write, but I just have no.
yeah.
I have interest, strong interest, of course, but I know other authors create Pinterest boards and have like all these mock things that they send on to their publisher, but I've
Hmm.
taken a bit more of a hands-up approach. Have you?
Right.
Or are you?
Yeah, no, I was quite I didn't know what I wanted either, and I just feel like these guys are the professionals and they have done it many, many times. So I'm happy to see what they have to show. And obviously it's fantastic and amazing. So yeah, I guess you could find some that you like and send it and be like, this is a good vibe. I feel like it's the right vibe for the book, but yeah, I think they know what they're doing.
They do, and I think they do appreciate it when an author does provide a few covers. And I did do that
Mm.
initially, like very early on with a firm press, and they were lovely and said, "Yeah, sounds like we're aligned." But in the
Oh,
end,
good.
it's up
Yeah.
to them to decide what they think is going to sell in the market. So, but yes, they understand the science and the art of it, and I certainly do not. Hey, Tina, I wanted to
Mhm.
ask you something.
Mhm.
Oh, unless did you have more on your cover?
Oh
No.
no, that was it. No, sorry, just back and forth. But also one other really
Oh,
exciting
yes,
thing
yes.
is that they're printing ARCs for book one.
Oh, yay! When?
I don't know nowish. They asked me, yeah, last week if they were okay to print ARCs, and I said yes. And
It's
they're going to
okay.
send me
They ask
some.
your
Yeah,
permission.
sure, go on. They do, and that's yeah, they're incredible like that, always coming back and forth and asking. And
Oh, we should say what an arc is, actually.
oh, advanced reader copy
Mm.
for those that aren't aware. So advanced reader copy. So it's kind of like a very first printed copy. So it's not of the quality that you'll see on a bookshelf, but they print out quite a few at this stage that they also call them uncorrected proofs as well. So although they've gone through many edits and we've tried to pick up everything we can, certain there's always going to be a some kind of mistake in there somewhere. So, but it's not necessarily for that. It's to kind of send it out to booksellers and even and reviewers ahead of time to sort of get them familiar with the book that's coming out eventually. So that's what they're printing, and then they'll send them out. And they said they're going to send me a couple of copies too. So I'm like every day I'm like checking the mailbox. Are they
Oh my
here?
gosh, that's so exciting.
Yeah, so that's exciting too. So
And it's also exciting for everyone as well who's listening because not every book has arcs printed for them. So it's not necessarily a given. So it's
mm.
very extra exciting.
Oh, I
You
didn't really
know,
know that. Hadn't really thought about that. There you go. Oh, that is
you're
exciting.
very special, Tina. Exciting. Hey, so I know in this episode you're going to be talking with Jess Horn, and I know you spoke to her a few weeks ago, and I've listened to it, and it's fantastic. So highly recommend everyone read it. But in the interim between when you interviewed her and now, something very exciting happened to Jess.
I know she's incredible as it is anyway, and her book coming out only on I think it was Tuesday, so about 4 days ago, is incredible. And but then she had some super awesome news a few days later that her book Bernie Thinks in Boxes will be included in the new little preppy book bags that the Victorian government is giving to all preppies next year, which is actually just incredible that they're doing that and so amazing.
Initiative.
And recognition of how books are so fundamental for children. And so her books are going to be in these prep bags, all 65,000 of them.
65,000.
I know, it's incredible because it's such an amazing book and an amazing story. And I won't say too much about it because we talk about it in the upcoming interview. So yeah, really awesome news, really awesome for a book, and yeah, really well deserved as well. So
So
definitely go on.
you and I then talked about this over text last week. Okay, so just imagine
Okay.
here, like your book gets chosen for the equivalent, 65,000 copies. Can you quit your job?
Can you or
I don't
will
know.
you?
I don't know.
I don't know. Like, I don't know. And I think no. Probably is the answer. I think the one thing is that you get told from everyone is don't quit your job. There's not a lot of money in this game unless you're the absolute chosen one, right? But of course, that's not why we do it. Is that we do it for the absolute love of it, and for those of us who also have day jobs that we love and studied for a really long time for and really enjoy doing, like you and I, it would be hard to quit your day job anyway. Yeah.
We're very lucky though. We're privileged to have day jobs that we really love and enjoy and we're passionate and interested in.
Hmm.
That's not always the case as well. But yes, what a lucky thing. And it's I guess it's lucky for Jess, but also she's put in the work.
Hmm.
She's earned this. And listening to her interview, it's a wonderful achievement for her.
Yeah, it's definitely her time. And I think
Exactly.
we talk about that. We've done a few more interviews now, haven't we? And I think that comes up a lot, doesn't it? That it's not an overnight thing for anybody, and putting in the time with writing and getting rejections and doing the competitions and not winning and winning and meeting with agents and publishers and lots of different things is all putting in the time to get to where it's like your three hard drafts that you did that still weren't perfect to get to your third. It's all just it's necessary work to get to
Worth
that
it.
point. So
All worth it in the end.
yeah, and that's what this podcast is all about, right? It's all just for aspiring authors out there feeling comfortable with the fact that it is the work. Just Just do it and enjoy it, and the time, your time will come.
What's your top tip?
Is that my top tip? Put in the work and feel okay about it.
Yes.
Okay, yeah, I like that. That is my top tip
And I
for
think I
today.
will leave my top tip as the natural reader's AI.
Mm,
Getting something to read your book back to you is really helpful. And I will save my next top tip for next episode.
okay, that's a good idea. All right. Thanks, Madeline.
Thanks so much, Tina. It was great to chat.
For our very first guest interview on the book deal, I'm interviewing picture book author Jess Horn. Jess is an Australian children's author, passionate about empowering kids and sparking imagination. Her stories are full of humour and heart, often exploring the world from a neurodivergent perspective. With a background in speech pathology and disability services, she now pursues her love of words by weaving stories with a subtle message of inclusivity, encouraging readers to think outside the box. She lives with her rainbow family of 4 in Sydney. Jess's debut picture book, Bernie Thinks in Boxes, has just been released with a firm press in July 2024. Hi, Jess Horn, and welcome to the Book Deal podcast.
Hello, thanks for having me.
I'm so happy to have you here, and you are actually one of our very first guests on the show.
Hooray! Thank you.
Thanks for
Excited.
agreeing to come on board. Firstly, congratulations on your debut picture book, which is released in merely days now.
Yep, it'll be on the 30th of July this year. Yep, so
That's
coming
so
in a few
exciting.
weeks.
How are you feeling right now, knowing that
It,
it's, 2 weeks away?
it it's exciting. It's still a little bit surreal, although it is more real now that I have an actual book to hold, which I got about a week ago. Would you like to see it?
Yes, please. Please hold it up. Show us. Yes. It's beautiful and amazing. And yeah, how does it feel holding that
It's
actual
nice.
in your
It's
hands?
nice, and it's actually got some like really like it's got little what's it called, embossing here, and it's got
Hmm.
some nice glossy. It was very nice to actually hold it as opposed to just see it as a PDF. It's kind of weird though because like by the time you get the book, you've seen the thing so many times. It's kind of like, oh well, there's the book. Like I didn't really look at it in great detail the first time, so I'm like, well, it's just all the pictures that I've already seen. But it's been like flicking through it after the excitement of the unboxing that I've kind of gone, oh wow, look, I didn't like seeing it in paper. It's like, oh, I didn't notice that cat doing that thing before or whatever. I think that's the beauty of this illustrator Zoe Bennett as well. She's put so many details into it, and so it's just like always something to find. So that's been nice and different to be able to spot that. And it's also I'm now not looking at it from a find the check for errors sort of perspective. It's more just like, oh look, it's finished, it's done.
Yeah,
So
enjoying
yeah,
it almost, seeing it as a reader
yeah,
might.
yeah, it's
Uh,
exciting. But I think the real moment is going to be actually seeing other people reading it, seeing it in bookshops. That's going to be like the big thing for me, I think, to make it
Seeing it
real.
on the
Yeah.
shelf. Do you have a plan for the date, the on the 30th of July? What are you going to do?
I'm actually working my day job,
Yep.
but it's in the city in Sydney. So and I actually have like this lunchtime routine of walking to Dimmicks in the city and walking down the escalator around the kids section, back up again, grabbing my lunch and going back to the office. So I'm thinking of just doing my usual lunchtime routine, perhaps extend it to a few other bookshops and just see if they have it yet. I'm not holding my hopes high because I know that they often don't unpack them on the first day, on the release day, but you never know. Just thought I'd duck in to check.
Oh, that's such a
Yeah.
nice lunchtime routine that you have.
Yeah.
That's awesome
Nice
to have
to
it
think.
there.
Surround myself by books. Yeah,
Yeah,
with books
yeah,
rather. Yeah.
yeah. Do you feel like
Yeah.
walking through, you kind of like channeling all the energy of the books? Because that's what I feel like when I go through a bookshop. Like just I'm
Yeah.
getting the energy, and one day maybe it's
Yeah.
gonna
It's
happen.
so it's just such a good place to be. And yeah, and it is kind of I have been like for the last year sort of walking past, the H section of the picture books and going, oh, it's gonna be me one day, it's gonna be there. And I noticed in Dimmicks in Sydney that the H section has moved from like this spot to down there. I'm like, oh damn, I put it
Oh,
down low. Like keeping my eye on that section. So yeah, it'll be there soon, hopefully.
who are you going to be in between? Have you sussed that out? The other authors you'll be in between?
I can't remember off the top of my head. They keep swapping them around, so there's a few, but I couldn't tell you.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, because I can't remember, but I've gone in before and had a look at the S's where I may be one
Oh
day or
yeah,
will be one day, and
yeah,
yeah, being like, oh, that's a good. I can't remember who it was now, but just thinking, oh, that's all right to be in the middle of them. People looking for them might just stumble across me. Yeah.
yeah.
Oh,
And you can
that's
go do the sneaky bookshop thing where you like get your book and like move it to the
true.
front.
Yeah, yeah, maybe. Does everyone at work know about your book coming out? Is
Yeah.
it something? Yeah.
Yes. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's been really exciting to sort of share that along the way because I don't really talk about much else. Like it's just my thing that I'm into. So it's always books, books, books. And we have like a good news story in our section of the work meetings. And it's, it's meant to be about work, but I'm always like, books, I got a contract or this or that. So yeah, they definitely know about it. And they're very excited, which is nice. Yeah.
Yeah, you might have a little crew coming with you for lunch on the 30th of July to follow you down to
Maybe,
Dimmicks,
maybe.
maybe.
I know I've blocked out like a section in my calendar between meetings. I'm like, do not book anything, please. Long lunch.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's so nice. So tell us about this beautiful book. Hold it up again and show
Yeah,
us.
yeah,
And
yeah.
you can see all
This
the
is
beautiful glossiness on there. It really
yeah.
does look amazing. So tell us, like, what's it called? Give us your pitch, Jess.
Yeah,
This is something
yeah.
that we got to
It's great.
practice.
Yes, we do. We do. Actually, yeah, pitch is like the hardest part of getting it right, isn't it? The hardest part of talking about the book. But anyway, yeah, it's Bernie Thinks in Boxes. Um, and it's about an autistic character who thinks in boxes essentially. So it's like categories in her mind. So she sort of categorizes her world. And she faces a situation in the book which everything's sort of out of the box for her, which it's quite distressing. And it's just how she manages that situation, which is a friend's birthday party, and then manages to celebrate his birthday party in her own way. So yeah, that's
That's
it in a nutshell. Yeah.
that's an awesome story and inspired by yourself or somebody else that you know.
Yeah, it's very much based on my way of thinking and the way that it started a few years back when I first jotted down the first few pages, which remained as they are, um, was I was just reflecting on how I think in boxes. It's like kind of the just the way I describe my head. And then I kind of got this image of someone sitting in a box thinking because, literal interpretation, which I found quite funny. And I was like, well, this has to be a book. So I was like, so and so thinks in boxes, not like this, kid sitting in a box, like this, thinking in boxes. And that was like kind of the initial thought that stuck in my head. And I was like, right, I have to make a story from this. So that's where I started. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, well, I'm glad that you did. And I've mentioned to you before the concept of thinking in boxes even like resonated with me as well. I hadn't actually thought of it like that, like
Mm.
more compartmentalizing and that, but it was such an amazing way of describing it. And I think it's going to be really helpful for a lot of kids to have a book
I hope so.
like that.
Whether people relate to it or whether it's just another way of thinking and, broadening your understanding of different ways of thinking. I think it's like got something in it for everyone. Yeah,
Yeah,
hopefully.
definitely. Yeah. Um, so just when Madeline Cleary, the co-host of the Book Deal podcast, when we
Mhm.
were thinking about who we wanted to interview, because the podcast is all about sharing authors' journeys of publication, because as we
Yeah,
know, it's not just one path. It takes many little side quests and alleyways and yeah, it's long. It's a long game, isn't it? And it's
yes.
yeah,
It's
it's a
quite,
journey. Yeah.
yeah,
So
definitely. Yeah.
yeah, so that's why we really wanted to interview authors, because I know you probably get asked now yourself, how did you get your deal? How did you get there by other aspiring authors?
Mm.
And so you can definitely see over with aspiring authors over time, kind of losing that um, a little bit of faith in it as well, and it's hard because
Yeah.
you actually just have to keep going. And yes, there's lots of rejections, and so we really wanted to have a podcast that helped aspiring authors by hearing everybody else's journeys, hearing that everyone's journey is completely different, and
Mm.
also be super practical in these are the steps that I took, or these are the things that I did, so they can maybe go away
Yeah.
and investigate them. And
Yeah.
yeah, the reason why I thought of you straight away when we were thinking of guests, because I was thinking about you were in a lot of competitions. I used to see your name come up and winning a lot of
Yeah.
competitions, and pitch contests, all those sorts of things. And I thought that was a really important message for aspiring authors, that you do have to put yourself out there. Um,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
so can you tell us a little bit about, yeah, I guess some of the steps that you took, before you got your contract with with Burning Things
Yeah.
in Boxes. What were some of the ways that you
Um,
got in front of publishers and got your work out there?
get in front of publishers. Yeah, I mean, I guess the competitions are one part of it because, there's if you do manage to get, come a place in the competition, some of them do like the prizes, you get to show your work to the publisher or whatever. So that is a good way, but also it's, the odds aren't great. I think the competitions are great if you win, but also just fun to be a part of because it's kind of this sense of community of like the excitement of waiting for the announcement and cheering people on and that sort of thing. So I think like, and also I guess whilst they don't always get you in front of publishers, they do give you practice at doing things. Like for example, Pitch It, I find each year is a fantastic competition because they're really great guidelines on how to write a pitch, and gives you practice at sort of really honing that skill. So, there's great reasons to do competitions. In terms of getting in front of publishers, I think social media, like indirectly, like just putting yourself out there so that if you do sort of pitch something to a publisher and they like look you up, then you're there and you're active and you're engaging in the community. And also, I mean, the way that I got the contracts that I've got, because I've got 3 at the moment, were not through slush piles. Unfortunately, I'd like to have some faith in the slush pile, but it so far has not produced a contract for me. But the first one was through the CYA conference editor assessments, and then the next 2 were through the Australian Society of Authors literary speed dating. So they were my 2 ways of getting in front of publishers. But yeah, I mean, everyone's story is different, so it's just a matter of having the right story at the right time with the right person, I think.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, that's true. It's all this, yeah, everything has to align still. But if
yeah,
they're not seeing it in the first place because the slush piles are very big, um, then nothing can align for them. They just don't even know it exists.
yeah.
Yes, I just did 4 assessments through the
Yeah.
CIA conference
Oh
recently.
yeah,
So
yeah,
they're amazing too, just to get that feedback. So I agree with that one. And I've heard a
yeah,
lot about the speed dating. I haven't done that myself, but
yeah.
that's meant to be really great with the ASA. So
Yeah, I found that good. Oh, sorry. The other one I did recently for the first time was Kidlit Vic. They had the pitch sessions and the I think it was like up close and personal. They were called sessions as well as publishers. So that's another way which I know people use and I've done once now. So yeah,
yeah, yeah. And
yeah.
did you get some good feedback from that?
Yeah, I mean, I met with, so it was a different format that one to the other 2 in that you're meeting with 2 publishers at the same time. So that was interesting to try and work out what to pitch because the 2
Ah,
that I had were quite different. In terms of like when I was looking at my stories, I was like, well, one usually does picture books only, but I had a gin fiction I wanted to pitch. So, yeah, but
hmm.
it was good because they both had input on my story, and I got some really good feedback that was helpful in understanding where my book sort of would sit or not sit in the market.
Mm.
So yeah, that one I didn't end up getting to submit my story. But yeah, I think it's still good to just get your face and name out there and chat and show that you're motivated. Um, yeah, to
Yeah,
succeed, I guess. Yeah,
yeah,
it
it's
takes a bit more
true.
effort to do that than the slush pile, so it's probably more likely that you'll be noticed or remembered, I guess.
Yeah.
That's my assumption.
Yeah. No, I think it's right, and it's connecting and making and networking too, right? It's
Yeah,
sort of, yeah, understanding, and it gives you a bit more of an idea of what that particular publisher is looking for, I suppose, in the future, so you know
yeah,
who
it
to
does.
pitch.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. They'll, having a chat with editors through the assessments at CYA, especially because you've got more time. Those ones are 15 minutes instead of 3 minutes with ASA. Yeah, you can definitely, have the chance to ask some questions about what they're after, what they like, what they don't like. So that's really good insight for your next submission. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So Bernie thinks in boxes, that was from one of the assessments, a publisher assessment that you got your
Yeah.
contract. Can you tell
Yeah, that
us
was,
that journey from
yeah.
when you wrote the end
Yeah,
on
sure.
Bernie thinks in boxes to your assessment?
Yeah. So that was I'm just trying to think what year it was. I think it was 20, what year are we in? It must have been 22. The CWA conference in 22 that I So I'd probably finished Bernie Thinks in Boxes a few months prior. Like I'd been working on it, was like sort of sitting on it for ages, trying to work out how to get it right. And then I sent it off. I did my assessment with CYA. It was the first time I'd sent that anywhere. I sort of saved it because I knew that CYA assessments were coming up, and it was the first time I was going to do editor assessments. I was terrified, and I sent it off to two different editors at the CYA. One of them was Coral from Affirm Press, and yeah, she really liked it. So that was exciting. And then she said, I'll take it back to my team and have a chat. So she did that, and she let me know they were going to take it to acquisitions, which I think was probably about 1 to 2 months wait, and then I got my yes, which was a very exciting moment. Yeah.
That is exciting. So, how did you feel? So, it was in the assessment that Coral said, I love it and I'm taking it to acquisitions.
Yeah, she said it was a little bit it was one of those like it got a bit rushed at the end sort of moments, but yeah, she definitely said, look, I'm excited about this. I want to chat to you about it. Then we went off and spoke about a different story as well, and she gave me feedback on that one. But then she sort of said, like, I'm interested in Bernie. But then it was via email that she clarified, yeah, I'm going to take it to my team, and then I'm going to take it to acquisitions. And yeah, so it sort of happened beyond that assessment as well. Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty exciting to get that when I mean, the assessments are great because you want all the feedback, but it is kind of the dream that that they just say, and we want
I know.
it.
And that's the thing, isn't it? It's tricky with the assessments because I think, they're assessments and their purpose is to give you feedback on your story, but also we all know that we go into them going, kind of it's a pitching opportunity too, isn't it? It's like you want them to take the story, you'd love the feedback too, but please just love the story so much that there's no feedback. So it's like it is hard to like remember when you go into it that it's an assessment and they're there to give you feedback. So yeah, and I got very, I was fortunate with that first one because I've done assessments since then and sort of, had great feedback, but it's gone nowhere. So I think if it had been flipped around and I had have done a couple of years of assessments going nowhere, I might have been a bit disheartened by that. So I think it was lucky that, with my first year doing that, I got somewhere. Yeah.
Yeah. And so, because I was going to ask you how many rejections you had gotten for Bernie, because rejections, as we know, is a huge part of pitching and getting your work out there. So, is that zero rejections for Bernie?
Well, technically one because I pitched I took it to two different editors at CYA, and the other one was kind of like meh.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes, everyone's got different perspectives and opinions, but yeah, Coral saw something and I liked it. But I mean, prior to that story, I had about 50 rejections on various other manuscripts that I've been submitting. So yeah, all slush pile ones. So yeah,
So there
definitely
were
a lot of
slush
work
piles.
before you get something. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. I
Yeah.
think it's extremely small percentage of people who get a yes straight away on the first thing they ever pitch.
Yeah, it does happen. I know someone has happened to. But yeah, I think that's a common misconception when you start writing. It's like, oh, you just send it off, and the publisher writes back and says, yes, we love it. It's amazing. And you get a book and that's it. And I definitely know going into wanting to write picture books that that's how I thought it would happen. I had no idea how complicated it was, how much went into a picture book, how competitive it was. So yeah, but everyone's pathway is different. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. And that's why we wanted to talk to you about yours because, yeah, yours is an interesting one as well. I was going to ask then, so if you had about 50 rejections, how many manuscripts was that? I know you worked on quite a few.
Oh, I don't really know. I've definitely got like between 20 and 30. But I think I could open my spreadsheet for you, but that would take too long. It's probably about 10, I'm
About
guessing.
10, yeah.
I don't
And
know.
will you keep
Yeah.
pushing on with them or do you think it's, like you said, the perspective's different? You go and see two publishers and one says yes and one's like, here's all your feedback, go and work on it.
Yeah. Some of them, yes, but a lot of them no, because I think the more you write, the more you learn. And so I can look back on my earlier stories and go, yeah, that was good, but I can now see, like, look at it and sort of like step back and look at it and go, actually, that's not going to go anywhere because of this reason, or actually, that's not a great story, or actually, that's not really that unique. So I can kind of take that outsider perspective with ones that I've let sit for that long. Yeah, I mean, there's still a few from a while back that I'm like, I should pull that out and send it to a few places again. But I think the problem with writing so many different stories and having so many different publishers that are open at different times and whatnot is it gets hard to keep track of. And you don't want to bombard one publisher with 10 stories at once. So it's like you've got to always remember, I'll come back and do that one. And it's like it's a job in itself to just do submissions.
Yeah, it is,
Yeah.
and keeping track, and that's a really a good tip for for aspiring authors who are submitting is keep track of what you have
Yes,
submitted. Open an Excel
definitely.
spreadsheet, just put the title,
Yeah.
put who you sent it to, put when you get a response, or if you didn't get a response. Yeah,
Yeah.
because I'm sure they
Yes, you
don't.
definitely need that because you can't remember down the track what you've sent where. You don't want the embarrassment of sending the same thing twice somewhere.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's not productive for you either.
No, that's right. Um, but you have two more books, Jess, 25 and
Mhm.
26 releases. Is that right?
I believe so, yeah.
Do we
Yep.
know, are we allowed to know anything about them or?
Oh, I don't know yet. I have not had that discussion with my publisher, but I can probably tell you that they're very exciting. I'm excited about them. Well, the first one that's going to be coming out next year is kind of I guess another sort of neurodivergent theme, creative thinking, imagination sort of book, and then the following one is the Rainbow Families theme. Yeah, so all based on various people in my family.
Picture books?
Yep, yep.
And are they with the same, are they with a firm as well?
No, the next two are with Hardy Grant, with Bright Light.
Okay.
Yeah.
So tell us how you got the Hardy Grant after a firm. How did you manage to get in front of Hardy
Yeah,
Grant?
so they were ASA speed dating.
Hmm.
Yeah. So I pitched one, which is actually the second one that they're publishing. And yeah, they said, yep, send it through. And I sent it through. And I also, because I did such a ridiculously short pitch, I didn't take up the full 3 minutes, like sped through it. And had the chance to have a very brief chat and sort of and so I was like, well, I've got some other ones. And so when I sent through the first one, I was like, oh, I can send you more. And she's like, yeah, that's fine. So I sent a couple more, and then one of them ended up being the first one that I published. So yeah.
That's awesome. That's an awesome story. And it is, I think it's those little chats at the end when you're not just trying to get through the pitch that are probably the most important.
Yeah,
Do you think?
definitely. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, well, congratulations on them. And I can't wait to see them coming out. And are you still writing now? Or are you just taking a bit of time off? You've got all these ideas, or you're just focusing on release coming up?
I have so many ideas sitting there that I want to write, but I have to say I've really struggled to write anything this year whilst I know that this launch for Bernie is pending. Like it's hard to concentrate on anything aside from what am I going to post with social media, and I'm going to do a podcast interview, and how am I going to run my launch? And it's like I don't have the brain space to be creative. The ideas are still there and stewing, but I just haven't written much, to be honest. And I'd like to get back to it soon.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And I'm sure you will.
it's
And you
hard to
only,
juggle.
yeah, and it's your debut book as well. I think it's fair, right? And probably a really good thing to maybe just enjoy that time and put everything into it, right?
Yeah, yeah. I think sometimes there's this pressure, like you've got to keep writing, keep writing.
Mm.
And some people I know, like they churn out a new story every week, and I'm not that person. It kind of just comes when it comes, and sometimes I'm productive, and other times I'm not. So I'm trying to sort of go, it's okay that I've only written one decent story this year. Hopefully that story goes somewhere. Yeah, and
Yeah.
I'll get back to it. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, one book a year for the next 3 years sounds like a pretty good, a pretty
I don't
good
know. Yes,
run.
I got lucky there. That is nice. It's very nice to have them all lined up like that. Yeah. Yeah. I'll just have to get one now for 27.
Yes, I'm
Sorry.
sure you will any minute now. Um, so, on a practical sense, then, and with writing, do
Mhm.
you have any, like you're just saying at the moment, it's a bit hard because you're focusing on other things, but usually, and maybe before this, did you have any tricks or tips on how to get the words down? How do you fit that into your week because you're a
Mm.
working mum with young kids? Yeah.
It is tricky. I'm like I'm trying to find. I'm sure I scribbled down notes on this somewhere. I'm trying to find it, but I can't because it's all disorganized and all over the place. That is not the way to organize your writing stuff. Definitely don't make it disorganized and all over the place like mine is. I have folders everywhere and none of them make sense, and it's really annoying. I'm not an everyday writer. I'm not one that can stick to anything in particular. Writing's always just very much been something that I did because I loved, and I did it when I felt like it. And whilst it has become a little bit more of a like, oh, I need to do this part of it, and I need to, do that editing, and there's certain things you have to do now that actually have books coming out. It's still very much like a hobby that I enjoy, and I don't want to take away from that by trying to force myself into a routine that I can't stick to because I'm very bad at, same as like I don't exercise because I tell myself I will, and then a week later I've already given up, so I don't want to set any expectations that I can't meet. I tend to just scribble down ideas when they come in a note, phone notes, and then because I've got two young kids, I'm not a morning person and I've got a full-time job. It's pretty much either writing or Netflix in the evenings. I just have to choose. So if writing calls, then Netflix misses out, and that's about it. Yeah.
Netflix will always be there.
Yeah, it will. It will. Sometimes I try and do both.
How do you
Sometimes
do
my
that?
partner watches something that's a bit too scary. I don't do it very well, trust me. I usually sit there with my computer and ignore it while I'm watching, or I just miss the entire. I can't do both. I just pretend, really.
Yeah.
But sometimes my partner will watch a very scary show, and I'll use my laptop as like a shield, so I don't need to see the scary things. I've even been known to put a hat on so I can't see. Like I've got my laptop and my hat, so I can't see the screen. Yeah.
But you still want to be
Sometimes
present.
writing is. Yeah, yes, I like being present. I just don't want to watch the scary stuff. So it's, writing is a protective mechanism sometimes.
Yeah, I like it. So, sometimes I feel like just by having the laptop open, maybe something will happen. Like for writing, like it'll
Yeah.
just, it just,
It's like osmosis, like
yeah,
it just sits on your lap and then maybe something will appear on the screen.
yeah. Wouldn't that be nice?
Yeah, it hasn't worked so far. I tried a lot.
Uh, so just you mentioned before, uh, in the lead up to the book coming out in a couple of weeks, and you've been thinking a lot about, posting and on Instagram and I th your Instagram, I think, was how we kind of got connected in the first place, and how I first
Mm.
discovered you with one of your drawings that you did for one of your children in their lunch boxes.
Oh yes, I was doing the lunchbox notes for a while there, little books and things. Yep.
Yeah, which I just thought was so cute. And one of them that you did, I can't even remember what it was. One of them, I think you might have even put like 50 cents in there for a brownie, but you had a
Oh
little,
yes,
do you
I
remember
wrote
what?
a little poem about buy yourself a brownie. I can't remember what it was. Yeah, a little
Oh, was
rhyming
it
thing with
something like
the really.
don't be frowny, buy here's money for a brownie or something like
Yes,
that.
that was it. Don't be frowny, buy a brownie. Yeah, and I stuck 50 cents in. It was something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, I love that, and I did that for my son, and he thought it was the best thing
Oh,
ever.
that's cute. I'm glad. I like hearing that other people borrow the ideas. That's really cute.
Yeah, no, it was really good, and I think that's probably where I started following you from, and then yeah, we both entered a comp, I think, at the same time, and
Mm,
so that's important,
yeah.
isn't it? So, building a profile, and some people love it, some people hate it. I think a lot of
Yeah.
authors want to just sit quietly in a dark room and write and not go anywhere near social media, but
Mm.
I mean, it's a
Which works for some
necessary
people.
evil. Is that the right word?
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, I don't know. I feel like it is. I don't think I'm the expert on this, but I feel like it is if you're a little person as opposed to a celebrity, like or like a really well, not celebrity, but like I don't know, there's some of the really big name authors, like they don't have, and illustrators don't have social media, but they're just big names somehow already. I don't know how they got there. And so it doesn't matter. But I think social media, I don't know, they say it's important because, publishers will look for you. It shows that you're sort of, you know, part of the community. You're, what's out there, what other books are on the market, that sort of thing. Like, but I think aside from like helping you and helping the publishers to recognize you and all that, it's also like it's just so lovely to be part of that community. And that's like one of the most important parts for me of writing is like being part of the community, seeing other people posting their wins or the challenges and sort of sharing those stories. And I think for me, like that's been one of the things that I've had really good feedback on in my social media account is like I have a decent mix of things. So I've got some funny stuff like the stick figures and whatnot. But I also post some quite sort of like open and honest things about process and how writing stuff is challenging sometimes, or and I've had feedback on those sorts of posts saying, that people really appreciate that honesty, and sort of like understanding the behind the scenes stuff. So I think that's useful. And the other thing is, I really enjoy sharing other people's books as well and posting little reviews and that sort of thing. So I think as a new author, if you're going to jump on and say and just like post constantly about yourself and your own book and that's it, like, I mean, that's fine, but you're probably not going to, again, my assumption, get the level of engagement and community that you want, compared with if you're talking with and about other people's work as well. Yeah.
And how did you find your community on Instagram? Because I know it sounds like a big task for someone who hasn't started that, or who hasn't, like, I know I only just started a author Instagram like a couple of years ago, when I actually had some kind of interest and thought I was going to get maybe a book deal at one point. And yes, so it took a little while, I think, to navigate that and understand. Do you have any tips for anyone who's starting out and hasn't quite built that community yet?
It's hard. It's hard to build up. And I mean, I started mine in 2020, and so like that's 4 years worth of building, and I still haven't hit 2,000 followers yet. So like that, it's hard to build up. But I started it when I was doing courses with the Australian Writers Centre, so before I had really started submitting anything. And it's changed over time depending on what I'm doing, what I'm working on. But I guess the way that I've built it is by posting regularly, making sure that I comment on other people's posts, send people messages if I don't do that often, but like, hey, I really love this thing about your work or your book or whatever. It's just about making those individual connections. And I don't know. I mean, I don't know how Instagram works. I don't know how the algorithms will work. Like, I'm not, cluey and all that stuff. But I think the more you engage, the more people follow, I guess. I don't know. And it's just about putting up content that people are going to be interested in, which, again, I don't think there's any secret recipe. I think it's just trial and error.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I think it's the engagement sort of, I don't know how it works either, but definitely, engaging. And as the person on the other end of that, when you're getting those likes from, or someone follows you who's also an author, you follow them back, and then it just sort of can happen quite organically after a while. And you mentioned the courses through the Australian Writers Centre. Yeah, it's all those little touch points, isn't it, of them making a connection with a couple of people at that course, or the writing group here, or just other authors.
There's definitely, like, because I'm in a bunch of Facebook groups as well. So then it's like, so you kind of follow people as you start seeing names. And oh yeah, I'm with that person in that Facebook writing group, and you go and follow them on Instagram and whatever. So I keep talking about Instagram because like that's as high tech as I get. Like, I have not gone near TikTok, and I don't do Twitter. I have an account, but I don't know how to use it. So, and I recently set up Facebook, but like that's it. So any of the other things that came in after those, I'm too old. I've decided.
Yeah, and it's really hard. You get some conflicting advice about having what they call it, a platform, or having like a big presence. And I think some publishers will say absolutely that will make the difference, and which is, I used to listen to a lot of American-based podcasts about publishing, and yeah, sometimes I'd listen to them and just be like, well, I'm just going to give up because I don't have a platform. I don't have 50,000 people following me. That's just never going to happen, until I eventually learned that that's not actually the case here in Australia. It doesn't, you don't have to have big followings. But I was actually surprised a couple of weeks ago at the CYA conference, when they were interviewing a panel of publishers, that they did say, if someone pitches to us and we like what they're doing, one of the first things we do is we do check out their socials and see what's happening there. But I don't think but then, as I say, it's not going to make or break if your story is good. They're not going to break.
That's the thing. Like, and I mean, yes, I think, I mean, look, I'm not a publisher and I can only just go by my understanding. But I think if you're, unless you're, you know, a celebrity author or something, or you've got this massive following on social media, like it is going to be mostly about whether the publisher likes your story idea and whether it's unique and interesting and fills a gap in their list. And I definitely think, you know, the rest of the package that comes along with that story is important, but I imagine that it's probably for most of us, the story that hooks them in initially, probably more so than the social media accounts, but that's me assuming. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll never quite know.
No, we won't. And look, it's probably case by case basis for them, and there's millions of them out there. So like every publisher's gonna work the same way. So yeah, that was a bit enthusiastic saying there was millions of them. I wish there were any more opportunities. There's not millions of them, but there's quite a few, and they all work differently.
Yeah, that is true. So now that you're well and truly in, you know, in the publishing industry, do you have has anything surprised you? Has anything stood out to you, like good or bad?
Yeah, I guess the biggest surprise has probably just been the amount of work or detail or steps that go into making a picture book. And I'm sure, you know, like any other book as well, but with picture books in particular, like because it's so illustration heavy, like there's that whole side to it that I had to learn about because I'm an illustrator. And you know, just the process of acquisition, signing a contract, getting the illustrator, doing the roughs, doing the many different versions of, you know, illustrations, cover design, writing the blurb, and then finally getting to print. Like there's so much in it that I didn't know, so I think that was a surprise. I mean, I kind of knew going into it that I didn't know a lot of stuff, so but yeah, like it was just very interesting.
I was just gonna say they work very hard.
Yes,
it's a lot, like you
yeah.
understand it's a lot, and a lot of people working on your words.
Yeah, it is. Actually, it was quite, I mean, so with my Affirm book, I worked just directly with the one editor, and I think she sort of liaised with everyone else in the team and the publisher and that. Whereas with Hardy Grant, I've worked both with the publisher and the editor together, and we've sort of all made comments on the story, and that's been like both processes were great. I've just learned so much from having their input on my story, and I found with every bit of feedback that I've received from all of them that I've been able to go, oh yeah, like and improve on the story. So it's really nice. But it's also I think, sorry, I'm diverging a bit from the original question, but I think it's a bit of a misconception, especially from outside of the writing world, perhaps, which might not be your audience, but that, you know, editors come in and rewrite our stories. And I found that's very much not the case. So, you know, everything that I've changed, because my first story, Bernie Thinks in Boxes, didn't change a lot, to be honest, but my next two did. And every change that happened, like I wrote it, you know, I had the editor or the publisher come back to me and say, hey, we're thinking about this structurally, or whatever it might be. And I did the work and rewrote it and went back to them, and we tweaked things along the way. But it was a collaboration, but it was definitely still my work. And I think that's important to know, is like that the editor is not going to come in and like change words and rewrite. I mean, look, it may happen with, I have to say I have heard of that happening with other friends, but I haven't had that experience so far. And I think that's really important because, yeah, to make it known that it is still the author's words, even though they're working with editors as well. So yeah, that's very much not what you asked me. You were asking me about the positives and negatives of publishing.
Yeah, but that's really a really important tip, I think, which was, you know, another question that I was going to ask you just for tips. Cool. And so that's a really good piece of advice, I think, is that, yeah, sure, maybe it has happened before, which has created these, you know, stories of people's words being changed, but that it's not the norm.
Yeah, it's been such an amazing collaborative process with both of my experiences so far. It's been really nice. Yeah,
it's like a big masterclass. Do you find this whole process? I've I found the process of
Yeah,
I'm just trying to learn everything. Yeah.
yeah, it's great. And there's so and even though you sign the contract, like there's so much more to do and there's so much more learning to be done. And yeah, but it's so nice to be able to work with an editor or a publisher and collaborate on your story and have someone there enthusiastic about your story as well. And it's just such a nice experience. It really is. Yeah. But I think it's like once you sign the contract, it's not all done and dusted. Like there's still plenty more to do, you know.
It's a
Yeah.
long process, even just from the date of, so how long is it from the date of signing to Bernie being
Yeah.
released?
Like just over 2 years.
Yeah. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
long, isn't
Yeah.
it? Yeah.
Yeah.
But you can see
It is long.
why when it
Yeah.
happens and all the steps, you can see why it takes so long to hit the
Yeah.
shelves.
Yeah. It's a big and like the illustrators have a gigantic job, really. Like, I mean, I was gonna say I wouldn't say they do more work, it's different work, I guess. But like for me, the thought of having to illustrate a whole picture book is overwhelming, obviously, because I'm not good at it. But like once we sign the contract, at least like we've done the bulk of it, we've got the words down. We might have agonized over that for the last year, but it's done. And yes, there's editing, but it's there. But the illustrators are starting from scratch when they sign that contract, and so they've then got a time frame to work to, and yeah, it's a very different process for them. And that going back and forth with the illustrators and editors and publishers and all that, and creating the concepts and then the roughs and then the finals and all that, it takes time, and yeah, you can't rush it. So yeah, definitely takes longer to make a book than I would have thought a few years back.
Thank you, Jess. That's all been absolutely amazing information. What
Okay.
do you have any final tips or inspirational quotes or anything to give these all the aspiring authors out there who are trying hard, who are trying to just follow their own pathway and get that elusive book deal? Any final tips or words of encouragement?
Well, I feel like I'm supposed to say don't give up. Um, and it kind of is a little bit eye rolly if there's someone out there who's like, yeah, but I've been trying forever and I just want to give up. It's a bit annoying to hear don't give up, but it is also kind of true. But I would say that alongside don't give up because writing is something that you love doing, and remember that the reason that you're doing this is because you love writing, not because you want a book deal. And maybe if it's because you want a book deal, you need to rethink that passion, I guess. Yeah, so if you keep sight of the fact that you're doing this because you love writing, then I think that is the motivation to keep you going, even when you get rejections. I think that's important. And the other thing that I have found invaluable is becoming friends with feedback. And that's both giving and receiving feedback, because you learn so much from both sides of that process. And I don't mean take on board every bit of feedback that you get, because everyone's got different opinions, and you'll end up just getting a watered down word salad if you take on board everyone's feedback. But it's about really being willing to accept other people's perspectives on your work, and then decide for yourself, okay, is this something I want to apply? Does this sit well with me? Is that actually not the concept I had in mind? And sort of work out what to apply and what not to apply. I think that's been a really important part of this process. And I think it can be hard to hear feedback, but I think the sooner that you're willing to take that on board, and consider it, the better. Yeah.
That's really good advice, and advice that I probably need to hear at the moment too, with something new that I'm working on. And yeah, just send it, and that's probably, it's great to send it out and have ask for feedback from lots of different areas, but then you do get lots of different feedback, and everybody's different. And yeah, I'm in a bit of a space at the moment of, okay, let's apply what everybody said, but it's not always the case, and staying true to yourself as well through that process with the feedback.
Yeah, exactly. Because it's your story and you've got to tell it your way. And no one else can do that for you. So it's just, yeah, it's just about hearing what might be working and not working, but still making sure that it's yours, it's your idea, and you're going to tell it the way that you want to in the end.
Yeah, that's important. That's awesome feedback. Thank you, Jess. So can you hold up Bernie again?
Yeah, I can, because it's so
Yeah, because
exciting
it's
to
so
hold
pretty.
it.
And so July 30, Bernie will be on the
Yes,
shelves.
July 30. Yep,
Yes.
it will. Very
Awesome.
exciting.
That's so exciting. I'm very excited for you, Jess. Congratulations on
Thank
Bernie
you.
and your two books else that are
Oh, thank you.
2026 and
Yes.
2027 that they
Yep.
come out. And thank you so much for being part of the Book Deal podcast. We
That's
really
okay. Thanks for
appreciate
having
it.
me.
Oh, that's perfect. And we will put all the links to all the competitions and everything that we mentioned and chatted about here,
Mhm.
and to where people can buy Bernie's things in boxes as well, and to your webpage. And if you want help building your community, any of the listeners out there, you can follow me or Jess and on Instagram, because that's probably the only socials that we're really
Yeah.
into, as we've just discussed.
Yeah. Yeah. Always up for chat though.
Very
Thanks.
exciting. Thanks
Thanks for
so
having
much,
me.
Jess. No
That's
worries.
so good. Thank you.
We hope you enjoyed this episode of the Book Deal podcast. Please like, follow, or share this episode so we can encourage more aspiring authors.
And if you have a question you'd like us to answer or ask our guests, please find us on Instagram at The Book Deal, or email us at thebookdeal@outlook.com.